Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear listeners and viewers. Many students now demand different topics which they are weak at. They want the improvement of those topics. So, upon the request of one of my viewers, I am making a video on the most important aspect of directed writing, that is called evaluation. Many students, even in class practice, they forget what is evaluation. They just write down the summary of the two texts, and then they think that why their grade has been affected. So in today's video, which is a very important video, I will be particularly focusing on the aspect of evaluation in directed writing. I will explain what is meant by it, and then I will guide you how to do evaluation in your answer. So this is the most crucial part of the question. Now, what does the word evaluation mean? In the literal sense, if you ask from me that what is the literal meaning of the word evaluation, then evaluation means judging something, analyzing something, or assessing something. For example, you can understand by this that you attempted an assignment and you gave it to a teacher who was very experienced, and then you waited for assessment from that teacher. And what did the teacher write in that assessment? She will give her analysis, she will give her judgment about your performance in that assessment report. Now, is this clear to you what I meant by judgment, what I meant by analysis, what I meant by assessment? This is how in the exam you will be given two texts and you will be asked to judge them. You will be asked to evaluate them and critically think about them, taking out the deeper meaning below the surface in your answer. If you will just pick the literal meaning, just the explicit meaning as to what is being said in the two texts, and you will not think about, you will not ponder about the inner meaning, the hidden meaning, then obviously the grade is going to be affected. And evaluation, in very clear cut words, you can say it means implicit understanding. Implicit means hidden, it means below the surface. It means not what is written superficially, but taking out the deeper message conveyed by the writer in the two texts. Obviously, apparently, the two texts are different, but approach is by one writer who is judging your analysis of that topic, that how much you have understood that. I hope it is a little bit clear now. It will become absolutely clear by the end of the video. So stay tuned, please. Now let's look at the two concepts, the two versions of this question. Number one is opinion, and what number two is evaluation. You know that there is an opinion question in the summary writing where you are asked to write. Previously, you had to pick opinions. Now, in the latest syllabus, you have to give your opinion and you have to verify it. Now, let's understand the difference between opinion and evaluation. Now, these definitions I have not made by myself. I have consulted several books by the Cambridge examiners. I have consulted several, you can say, resources, and I, Alhamdulillah, also attended several workshops. And on the basis of this information, my student got full marks in P2 in 2024. That was, Alhamdulillah, the achievement granted to me by Almighty Allah. And the name of the student was Jayhan Suleiman. About her, I have already shared information. So coming to the topic of difference between opinion and evaluation. Giving opinion refers to expressing one's personal beliefs, views, or attitudes about a topic, often based on personal experiences, values, or biases. Now, you see, the most important word here is bias. Let's understand first this word. What does bias mean? Bias means that you hate someone without any reason. In the same way, bias means you like someone without any reason. Bias is a prejudiced opinion, liking or disliking someone without any specific reason. You simply say, I don't like tea. The people who are very fond of taking tea, they might ask you, what's the problem with you? You say, I simply hate the smell of tea. I don't simply like it. There is no reason. I don't want to tell why. But sometimes the people say, on the other hand, a person like me might be mad to have a cup of tea, especially in the middle of teaching, especially in the hour of studying and teaching. So you see, it is something that differs from person to person. So something which differs from person to person and which does not have any logic, does not have any, you can say, valid reason for it, for liking or disliking, is called opinion. Opinions are always subjective. It means that they are personal. They vary from person to person. Everyone can have his or her own opinion. Now, on the other hand, let's understand the most difficult word, the most challenging word, that is evaluation. It is completely opposite of opinion. Evaluation means it involves making judgments about the value or quality of something, but based on evidence or standards. For example, when you are supporting the idea of fidgeting in the classroom, fidgeting means unnecessary movement. The students are, for example, moving their legs, or they are playing with pen, or they are making some noise. This is fidgeting. There is a topic about that in the email writing task. For example, if you are supporting the idea of fidgeting, you should have some evidence to support that. You must not say, bus, I don't like fidgeting or I like fidgeting. That will be opinion. But when you will verify your opinion with evidence, that will be called evaluation. I hope my point is clear. When you verify your opinion with evidence and logic, that will be called evaluation. Now, what is the purpose of evaluation? The purpose is to provide an objective assessment. The subjective element is discarded, it is finite. The purpose is to provide an objective assessment so that when the teacher says that I have checked these papers, for example, Uzma was not my favorite student, but her paper was very good, so I am granting her full marks because her attempt was according to the writing and the reading assessment objectives. So this will be the teacher's evaluation about Uzma's assignment. Analyzing strengths and weaknesses, and may involve comparing options or outcomes. Now, you see, there can be a comparison. You can say that this one is 100% true and this one is 75% true. Now, you are giving evidence, you are giving logic, you are providing facts, you are providing data because you are evaluating. You are not doing wholesale copying of ideas given in the text in the form of summary only. I will be sharing evaluation phrases also, which you will use. Basically, indirectly, many people say that we write our opinion in evaluation, but the way you will write it, the sentence starter which I will share with you, it will prove it to be an evaluation. It will prove it to be an objective assessment. It will prove it to be a judgment based on reason and logic. Example to understand the difference between opinion and evaluation. To illustrate this difference, the Cambridge examiners have quoted these examples. I think the new restaurant in town is amazing. Now you see, this is an opinion. How can we say that this is an opinion? Number one reason, it starts with I. The subjective part has been mentioned by the user of the word I. Secondly, the word amazing, which is an adjective, verifies that this is an opinion. It might say that the new restaurant is totally, you can say, meaningless. It does not provide quality service at all. That would also be an opinion. Now, let's change the same information in the evaluation style. Based on the reviews and menu, I evaluate the new restaurant as a good option for dinner with a rating of 4 out of 5 stars. Now you see, I has been at a hidden position. Number two, some basis has been made for making this opinion. And what is the basis? Reviews and menu. And then evidence in the form of data is provided that it has a rating of 4 out of 5 stars. This is an evaluation. While opinions are personal and subjective, evaluations strive to be more objective and evidence based. I think I cannot provide much clearer information between the difference of opinion and evaluation than this example. I hope it will be clear. You can take the screenshot of this and reread it several times. You can rewind my words so that the answer and the information gets registered in your minds and you are absolutely clear about it when you are evaluating your ideas in directed writing. I am now going to relate this information with your answers of directed writing. Now let's see, what does reshaping of the material mean. In directed writing, you have to analyze the text in a different way than in reading activities. Now you see, analysis of ideas in directed writing is a different style and it is different from reading activity. Reading, just as you do reading and you evaluate ideas in the comprehension passage, that is the reading. In directed writing, you have to create a new piece based on what you have read. You see, you have been provided two reading texts. Now the information given in the text is there. Very similar information you are going to produce in your answer, but it should not be wholesale copying and it should appear to be something new. It should appear to be totally, you can say, new thing that has been created. It has to be totally new. Now, this example, you can say the idea of making something new has been explained in the book by Cambridge examiners according to the new syllabus, which is the green colored book. They say think of it as reshaping the material you are given and creating something entirely new, the way a potter reshapes clay to create an original vase. You see that if we touch clay in the original form, it will make our hands dirty and it might make our hands wet if it is wet clay. But once the clay maker has refined it and changed the original shape of the clay into the vase or some pot made of clay, then now when we will touch it, our hands will remain clean, and it will turn out to be a totally different thing. Does it remind you of clay? Obviously, it can remind you that it is made of clay, but the shapes are totally dissimilar. It has reshaped itself. Now, what are you supposed to do? You should echo the material you have read and respond to the ideas within it, but within a readable, accurate, new piece of writing in which you apply what you know about audience, purpose, register, and voice. I will take a few minutes to explain two important things of this point. Number one, echoing of the material. In your answer, when you are evaluating and when you are summarizing the information of the text, the message that the examiner should receive is that you have read these, but you are not copying anything. Rather, you are echoing the material given in the text. So, echo, the voice should be heard. Copying should not be done. Number one point. And it should be a readable, accurate, new piece of writing. Something new should be created. Even if you merge the ideas, even if you talk about the disadvantages first and the advantages later, it will not spoil your tone. It will not spoil your paragraphing. The thing is that you are attempting all the tasks. Even if you change the number of the paragraphs, new things should be created in which you apply what you know about audience, purpose, register, and voice. So while she reshaping the material, don't forget the basic formula of directed writing, which is the acronym VARPF. VARPF. V stands for voice, A stands for audience, R stands for register, P stands for purpose, F stands for format. So while attempting the task of reshaping your content and your material, keep the formula, keep the acronym very prominent in your mind, that you are not deviating from the formula. The formula and the related things have been thoroughly explained in the directed writing videos. In this video, I am just focusing on evaluation. One more example for clarification of what is reshaping. Now, here is the example of eggs, flour, butter, and sugar. Now, you see, these are the four basic ingredients which are used in the making of a cake. Now, can you see any eggs in this refined cake? Can you see the crystals of sugar here? Can you see pieces of butter here? Can you feel even a pinch of flour over here? Nothing. This is totally reshaped. This is totally refined version of the cake. The eggs have been dissolved. The sugar and the butter, they have been perfectly grinded and smooth. We can't see any of the basic materials in the refined cake. So this should be the essence of reshaping the content of the two texts into your directed writing answer. These examples I have not invented. I have told you that obviously I have used my brain, but at the same time I consulted several resources shared by Cambridge Examiner. So these are authentic points. So do not doubt their authenticity. These are some of the evaluation phrases that you should be writing in your directed writing answers. While there may be some truth in these views. Now you see, I is at the hidden position. In some types, for example, report, you are totally not allowed to use I. So you will continue with such evaluative phrases and sentences in report writing. Even in informal letter or speech or any other type, while doing evaluation, you should bring I at a hidden position, because you should not show that you are giving biased opinions. You have to prove that you are evaluating. You are supporting your ideas with vivid and relevant data and examples and evidence-based information you are providing. So such kind of sentences you are supposed to use, and you can complete it according to the context of the topic. For example, you can say, while there may be some truth in these views, comma, however, the other side of the picture is this. Now you can tell the other side of the picture, or you can give the other point of view which is in your brain. While there might be some reality in the aforementioned point of views. Now you see, just I have provided some synonyms of this phrase so that everyone does not write the same. Now, from where have I picked this evaluative phrase? It has been provided in the book by the Cambridge Examiner. But the difference is that I keenly read it and I picked out each and every point. Even the example of the clay has been picked from that book. Final tips. Do not just write the summary of the two texts. In directed writing, if you want to achieve marks above 20 out of 25 for 1, 1, 2, 3 students, and above, you can say 30 or 35 for IGCSE students who will get this question of 40 marks, the word limit is the same. Do not just write the summary of the two texts. Remember to reshape and evaluate. Read the two bullet points carefully. What are the two bullet points in directed writing question? They are going to be shared in a few seconds. Teacher's instructions become secondary important in front of the rubric. Never forget this. One of the viewers asked this even on my YouTube channel, that if the paper said that start your letter with dear sir, then how will I write dear principal? Then you will write dear sir, because the rubric has provided you guidance about that. So this is how 2 points of the directed writing. These are the two bullet points in the task. Evaluate the ideas and opinions in both tests. So you see, they use the word evaluate, and then they say give your own views about whether computers are a benefit or a disadvantage for young people. So you will be doing both the tasks. You will be giving opinions and at the same time you will be evaluating. And do not, please do wholesale copying. Do not pick chunks from the extract. Those students who are studying from me on regular basis, they can verify what I'm going to say, that I immediately come to know about those phrases and those sentences which you pick from the text. Although I have not memorized the text, but an examiner would definitely come to know about it. So never think of dodging the examiner. So, my dear students, this was, I think, very much clear to you regarding evaluation, regarding the difference between evaluation and giving opinion, and how you will reshape your answers in directed writing. The only clear cut solution to this is that once you have read the two texts and taken out 5 content points per text, then keep the text aside and now start thinking from your own brain. They will not be difficult topics. They will be very, very, you can say, clear and easy topics related to technology, AI, the usage of social media, the usage of internet, the usage of fidgeting. These are the topics which are very commonly used in directed writing questions. I hope my point of view and my information is absolutely clear to all of you. Stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.